Freediving is literally all about the ups and the downs, but there's so much fun and adventure to be had along the way. Join us on an epic adventure to the northern tip of Vancouver Island, where we dive into the depths and harvest some of the best seafood our ocean has to offer.
What a beautiful morning! You ready to go, Fred?
Yeah, 100%.
Got Chris, Fred, Derek, Vlad, Jeremy, and Henry. And yeah, we got the skis, we got Fred's boat, and it's gonna be a sick time. We got spear guns, wetsuits, and we are going to get some fish. My goal is an octopus. That's what I want, but I'd settle for a Lingcod and a Puget. So that's the goals today. Oh yeah, so we're also gonna do a sea otter catch and cook, and that's gonna be fantastic. Totally not against regulations.
So in case it wasn't obvious, totally kidding about the sea otter. We were just chatting about stuff that we wanted to see on a dive, but those little guys are definitely off the menu. But we did need something, so as backup we threw the crab trap off, and hopefully we were able to pick up a couple on the way back. This was shaping up to be a pretty cool adventure because Henry brought a couple jet skis, one for him and one for Jeremy. So not only we had the boat, but we had some fun toys as well. But to be safe, you have to have good communication, so Pleasure Craft Channel 69 was the channel of the day. And did we ever get lucky with the weather? When it's April, you really never know what kind of weather you're going to get. It might snow, it might rain, but it might be sunny like this. But it never fails for me to find some trash when I go out. But I figured this is the perfect time to show off my brand new suit from Diving Sports. Check out this thing with the logo on the back. This will be the first big adventure for these new suits, and let me tell you, they did not disappoint. So after a bit of a boat ride, we scouted out a few spots, threw the anchor in, and hopped in to explore what's underneath the surface. And I was pleasantly surprised that the visibility was fantastic. We had a solid 10 meters plus of visibility, which meant we were going to have a great dive. You really never know, especially on the west coast, what the visibility is going to be like, because there's so many factors that play into it, but this made me so happy, and I was stoked for these dives. I love showing off our waters when the visibility is beautiful, because so many non-divers have no clue how beautiful some of our waterways here can be. They always think of snorkeling and freediving and scuba diving when it comes to Hawaii and Australia, but our waters here can be absolutely stunning. It just happens to be a bit cold. This school here is full of black and yellowtail rockfish, and personally, I think rockfish are one of the best tasting fish in our oceans.
I feel the gravity pull and it keeps me awake. I would rather be here, lonely in space. I've made up my mind, I just wanna be free. I live my own life in a new galaxy. I wanna be weightless in the silence of the night sky. I wanna free fall into nothing at all. I'm taking the moment, starting all over. I wanna be free and live my own life in a new galaxy.
It takes a lot of commitment and dedication to really harvest well while spearfishing. For every drop you see in the video here, there's probably 10 more at least where we dive down, take a look, and don't find anything at all. But at the same time, it's all about the dive, the journey, and the hunt. The boys were quite literally killing it at the spot. Check out these catches. Fred here got a beauty, and then Vlad and Derek got a couple monsters. The cooler on day one was definitely full. We hopped around to a few different spots because Lingcod wasn't the only target. We were definitely looking for some Puget Sound king crabs because those are just amazing. They're beautiful and they taste delicious. So different spots, different structure. We really wanted to explore a bunch of different areas because you never know what's hiding around the next cove. And we gave these suits a thorough trial on this first day here because we were out there for between 6 and 7 hours, and at no point were either of us showing any signs of being cold. These suits were absolutely killing it. All good things though must come to an end, so we headed back to shore and pulled up that crab trap.
Hell yeah. That's it.
That's a beauty.
That's a big one, man.
Pretty nice Airbnb here. View right on the water.
The Airbnb we rented was absolutely gorgeous, but first things first, and we gotta get cooking. So we chopped up one of the Lingcod and Fred started the fryer.
That cross section just looks perfect.
And everyone's favorite, fish tacos. So while he was frying, I chopped up the veg, and then we went to work eating.
This one there, Fred. Pretty good, pretty good. To be honest, I should have put a little bit of salt in.
Perfect little taco there. How's it going, guys? So we're out here at Port Hardy and had an absolutely killer day yesterday. I didn't film a ton, got a couple clips here and there, but it was just such a long day with the travel. And yeah, just a beautiful morning. Like, check out this view here. So super sick. All these eagles down here, they're feeding on the fish scraps from yesterday after cleaning all the fish. So it's been pretty cool watching these guys fly around and fight for all the little scraps. Anyways, we got a huge action-packed day ahead of us here. Want to do a beach catch and cook. And yeah, I gonna put a bit more effort in getting a Lingcod today. Yesterday I got 1 rockfish. The guys cleaned up, I think maybe 6 Lingcod in total throughout 7 of us. So very, very busy day. But yeah, I'm excited to show you guys what we got going on today. Chris and I are gonna go scout a little spot right now. Don't think we're gonna be diving there, but then we're gonna jump back in the boat and hit up some remote coastline. So it's gonna be awesome. Let's go.
So this beach here was about 1 kilometer away from where we were staying, and it actually had shellfish opening. So we were thinking about coming here and digging some shellfish up, but we just didn't end up with the time.
Day number 2.
The weather on day number 2 was even better. The wind died down a bit, so made the journey out a little bit smoother. And the conditions were great as well. A bit over 10 meters of visibility, which was fantastic, and that's pretty ideal for some spearfishing. So a couple drops down here. We didn't hang out this spot too long because it was a bit sandy on the bottom, not the best structure for fishing. But when I popped up on this dive here, I seen this little otter swimming around. I think these have to be one of my favorite sea creatures. I love these sea otters swimming around. They're really cool and cute underwater, and I think it's just fascinating that they use rocks to break open shells and to eat what's inside them. I think this little encounter was definitely one of the highlights of my trip. Henry actually spotted a big wolf eel, and him and Fred were trying to call us over, but we didn't get there quite in time, and the wolf eel took off. But the guys were trying to dive down and try and find him, and it was kind of cool just from the surface, seeing everyone swimming around, trying to look for this thing. And something that always sucks while diving is losing a piece of gear. which unfortunately happens every once in a while. You know, it's not strapped onto your leg or in its holster properly, and that's what happened to Chris. He actually lost his flashlight, unfortunately. Fortunately for him, though, I have one superpower, and that is finding objects that do not belong in our waterways. So about 20 minutes after he lost it, I was just swimming around, and I noticed this shiny thing on the bottom. So I dove down, scooped it up, and I was excited to show him what I found.
Oh, fucking dude. You found it? That's fucking awesome. Dude, that's amazing. Thanks so much.
So when you're looking for Lingcod, though, this big rocky boulder section of ground is definitely a place you're going to want to look for, because they kind of live in these holes, and so looking around through them is a great spot to try and find them. However, when I was coming up, I seen this massive school of rockfish, and I figured those are probably one of my favorite eating fish, so let's get a couple for the freezer. So I dropped back down, and I was recording this on a chest mount. I'm kind of experimenting with some different ways to film, and it didn't quite get it, so I may not be using this in the future, but I did get the fish, and you can see it when I swim up with them. Like I said before, dropping down following someone gives such a cool perspective, and I love to show them what I'm filming. So right now, this is Jeremy following him down along the kelp to see if he can find something to grab for dinner. No luck on this drop, but when we popped up to the surface, Fred sure had something to show us. He spotted an East Pacific red octopus, an Octopus rubescens, commonly known as a ruby red octopus. And for this species, this is about as big as it gets because it only has a lifespan of approximately 2 years. Harvesting these guys are pretty controversial over the internet, but honestly, it's one of the most sustainable resources that we have as far as seafood goes. They have a very short lifespan, and actually comparing it to that black rockfish that I had just shot, which has a lifespan of up to 50 years, they're far more sustainable. Harvesting certain types of seafood is criticized a lot, but generally I find it's most scrutinized by the people who really don't understand the amount of respect that us freedivers really have for our natural resources. Harvesting food from nature, where the animal has lived its entire life free and to do as it wishes, is a lot better than something farm-raised. And harvesting while freediving essentially reduces your bycatch to zero, where certain fishing techniques, such as bottom trawling, catch and kill everything in its path. So the next time you're having that shrimp dinner, think about where it was actually caught and how it was caught. And someone might say, well, the solution is to go vegan. Well, the environmental impact of farming that produces what you eat can also devastate landscapes and animal habitats. But I'm really not here to tell you what to do or how you should eat. I think it's just a smart idea to take a deeper look into where your food comes from and how it's made. Often growing and sourcing food locally is going to be your best way to go. Speaking of bottom trawling and big nets for fishing, we took a bit of a break here to check out this kind of cool tunnel here, and then just a little ways around the corner we seen this massive net that had washed up on shore. These are often referred to as ghost nets. They drift through our waters until they finally make landfall, but along the way they can get caught up in all sorts of marine life.
Lovely to see washed up on the shore.
So I do a ton of environmental cleanups, but unfortunately in this case we were not prepared for something like this. This weighs a couple 100 pounds if I was to guess, and it was really wrapped up in this log, so it'd take a fair bit of cutting to get this off the log and to the boat. And with the swell and waves hitting the shore, this is quite a dangerous thing to try and swim out. So unfortunately we had to leave this behind.
Alright, dive day's pretty much over. So we got the boys down there cutting up some fish. Got a couple different fire setups going on. And yeah, 3 different styles. So me and Jeremy here are going to heat this rock up and just cook the fish right on the rock. So yeah, it should be great.
Hopefully it doesn't crack, because sometimes that happens.
Yeah, if the rock explodes, yeah, we're hooped. There we go. Tropical Canada. Got my little coconut bowl. Perfect.
Yeah. Firefly them and raw dog them on the coals. Ooh. It needs a little bit.
There's another familiar, well, I guess everything from the ocean has a familiar taste.
That's hot.
Kind of like mussels too.
Mussels.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, yeah. Crab mussels, bit of a mix.
So this was the ruby red that Fred had caught. Unfortunately, without a kitchen and a lot of prep time, this kind of turned out pretty chewy, but we ate it nonetheless, and we were kind of doing some survival cooking here right over the fire. So if you were hungry, this would totally suffice. It wasn't bad, but maybe a little more seasoning and some tenderizing before would probably be a good step next time.
Beautiful evening out here. Just finishing up. Last little bit of Fred's octopus here. Just a little finish on the fire. It's hot though. I'm good though. And it's a wrap on day 2. Crew's packing up and back to the Airbnb. Yeah, probably more food. What do you think, guys? Another round of crab or something like that? All right, catch you there. Got a jet ski full of kelp, so.
Yeah, you can go in no water with the jet drive, but also it gets fucking clogged. Clogged full of shit. There's something to be said for a famous spot that just.
Oh yeah, look at that kelp coming out of there.
So after a quick fix, we hit the water again, and with the sun setting, we hurried back because the temperature was dropping fast.
So unfortunately this morning I woke up with a rather upset stomach, so I didn't think a boat ride was going to make it feel much better, so the guys went on. And I'm going to do a bit of a crab catch here, I think. That's the goal. Looks pretty promising. So yeah, let's see what we find out here.
When I first hopped in the water here, it was absolutely gorgeous. This nice little blue bit of water here, some sandy bottom with a little bit of kelp. I thought this would be a perfect spot to get some Dungeness crab for tonight's dinner.
So just spotted a big octopus. I'm stoked.
So you can actually see this octopus, the head right between these rocks there. It's kind of hard to see, but the reason that I came across this was all these red rock shells littered around this hole. And that is a telltale sign that there's something living in there. So I then proceeded to spend approximately the next hour trying to pull this guy out, and he is strong, and I only had this small area to work with. So after a while of trying to pull him out, as you can see this big boulder beside my right shoulder, I end up actually moving that whole thing out of the way, as you can see here, which gave me a much bigger opening to see him. And exposing him like this is exactly what I needed, because he then felt unsafe in his little hole where I could now get at him. And this is where the waiting game started. I put my camera down here, swam away, and just waited for him to leave the hole, which he actually did pretty quickly. Because this could be considered a bit graphic to some watchers, and I don't really want to be demonetized on YouTube, I'm gonna skip over the part where I actually dispatched them. But yeah, as you can see here, I was able to get them.
So that was a battle, but look at this beautiful guy. So he's dead, but he's still just moving a little bit, but must be the nerves and whatnot. Big beauty though.
I didn't weigh it, but I estimated this to weigh between 40 and 50 pounds. And when totally stretched out, it is a little over 5 feet long.
So I've only ever processed one other octopus, and it was quite a bit smaller than this guy, so this is going to take a little while. So I actually stopped here because the guts were going everywhere, and I didn't want to make a mess on the Airbnb patio here, so I just walked down to the water there and gutted the head and skinned it there. But yeah, let's start working on the rest of it. All right, That's one. 7 more to go. So, just trying to get the skin off, and kind of found this is the best way there. Doesn't get all of it, but it's a good start for sure. And so that's a full skin off the one leg. This stuff is so gooey. You can pretty much see right through it. Right, one down. And so doing that takes all the skin off of the leg, because you don't really want to be eating the skin.
Yeah, I put
Oh, octopus! We got my octopus. That's the giant Pacific. We got ceviche with rockfish. We have the ruby red octopus. Some Dungeness. The boys are cooking some Lingcod up, and I think we got some oyster shucking too. Not a bad feast. Some of the biggest goosenecks you've ever seen. Yeah.
Alright guys, that was about all we got. So I want to give a big shout out to Fred, who owns East To West Freediving in Victoria, for bringing his boat out. Vlad and Derek for coming all the way up from the States, as well as Chris, Henry, and Jeremy, who all have channels right here, so go make sure you check them all out and give them a follow. And last but not least, big thanks to my dive sponsor, Diving Sports in Vancouver. Without you guys, I would be freezing cold in our waters and wouldn't be able to do nearly as much as I could do now. So always lots of love guys, and everyone, take care.